Hey coders, welcome back to the Smart Interviews YouTube channel. I am Raghava. So in this video, we are going to solve the Codechef contest 212 problems. So without any delay, let's get started. So guys, we'll discuss the first problem of Codechef contest. So the problem name is basketball score. So the problem statement is a basketball team scored X successful 3 pointers and Y successful 2 pointers in a game. So your task is to complete the total score of them. So, and they also mentioned that 3 pointer is worth of 3 points, and each 2 pointer is worth of 2 points. So your task is to complete the total score of that particular team. And if you see the input format, what they are saying in a single line, it contains two integers, basically x and y. And x denotes the total number of successful points, and y denotes total number of successful 2 pointers, and obviously output should be total score of the team. And if you see the constraints, like it will be from 1 to 10 itself. And if you see the test cases, guys, so in each line we'll be having x and y itself, right? So for the current example, x is nothing but tier 2 and y is nothing but tier 3. So how will you solve this problem? That means x is nothing but the total number of 3 pointers successfully, and in the same way y is nothing but the total number of 2 pointers. So each x points will be having 3 points, right? In the same way, each 2 pointers will be having 2 points. So that means what you will do, basically you can simply do x into 3, and if you do x into 2, you'll get both the values, and you can simply add it to get your output. So if you see for the current example, your value is like 2 into 3 plus 3 into 2. So nothing but 6 plus 6, 12, and this will be your output. In the same way, if you take second example, x is nothing but your 1, y is nothing but your 3. So what you will do? x into 3 and y into 2. That means what you'll get? Obviously 3 plus 6, which is 9. So your answer will be 9. So here you got 9 as 12, and here you got 9. So this will be your output basically. Now we'll try to solve this problem in the editor. So guys, now we'll try to convert our logic into code, what we have discussed previously. So if you see, I will provide this problem link in the description, guys. So if you see, they're trying to give the two inputs, right? We'll try to take that. Let's say int x is equals to, we'll take the two integers, guys. After that, what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to calculate your total sum, right? I'll take one more variable, let's say total score. Let's say total score. And how we are going to calculate? Can I say x into 3 we are supposed to do? And the same way y into 2 to calculate your total score. And I can simply print my total score. So if you run this, we will see it will be executing for the test case or not. If you see, for the current output is 12, and our output also have came 12. Now we will try to submit it. So got it, right? Now we will discuss the second problem, guys. So guys, we'll discuss the second problem. The second problem is name is signal. So the problem statement is a secret binary transmission is represented by the string S of length n. So in that signal, you will be having either 0 or else 1. So 0 indicates the silent period and 1 indicates the pulse period. So your task is to determine how many pulse occurred after at least one silence had already appeared in the transmission. So if you see, the problem statement is going to like you will be having string s, and you'll be also having the length of the string is n. So in that string you will be having either zeros or else ones. 0 indicates the silence period and 1 indicates the pulse period. Your task is to determine how many pulses, that is nothing but how many ones are occurred after at least, like silence is nothing but your zeros, right? So your task is to determine how many pulses occurred after at least one silence had already appeared in the transmission. So this is your problem statement. And if you see the input format, obviously the first line will be your test cases. After that, the next two lines will be the first line will be your length of the string, and second line will contains the exact binary string what they are trying to give you. And what will be your output? So output should be, and that you're supposed to print in a new line each and every output. So what you're supposed to print? The number of pulses occurred after at least one silence had already appeared in the transmission. We'll try to see the test cases so that you will get to know in detail. And if you see there are a few constraints. Constraints, they are saying that there will be 10^4 test cases, and n might be from 1 to 10 itself between. So basically, if you see the test cases, there are 4 test cases, and first test case in the length is 3, and this is nothing but your s string basically. Now if you see, we have 0, 1, 1. That means this 0 indicates the silence period, this 1 indicates the pulse period. So what you're supposed to find? Number of pulse occurred after the silence. So basically for this, I can say this is my silence period. After that, there are 2 pulse occurred. So my output will be 2. In the same way, if you see the second test case, what is the second test case? 1, 0, 1. When you have seen your first silence period, which is 0, here, right? After that, how many ones are there? Basically, pulse are there. Only one is there. So that means output will be 1. In the same way, if you see the second test case, third test case as well, we have seen 1, 1, 0. That is your binary string. So where is your 0, which is nothing but your first silence period? Here. Do you have any pulse over there? Right side basically? No. So for this, output will be 0. If you take the fourth test case, you have size is 4, which is 1, 0. Sorry, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, right? Now, when you have when you have seen your first silence here, after that, do you have any pulses at the right side? Yes. So you will count 1, and since you have done with your string, you have only 1 pulse after the silence. So this will be your output. So how we can solve this problem, guys? Pause the video and think how we can solve this problem. So basically, we'll take we'll take one string, let's say 1, 0, some double 1 and 0. For this, what will be your output? Basically, whenever you have seen 0, you will start counting from the right side, basically entire right side. So there are 3 ones. So there are 3 ones. Your output will be 3. And let's say this is your string. We'll also write the indices, guys. So string length is 6. Now what you will do? I'll simply take this, guys. I'll simply iterate on my entire string. Let's say currently I'm at this position. So is it my silence period? No. I'll simply move forward. Now I have seen my silence period. Now what you're supposed to do? I need to calculate my ones, basically pulse period, as from the right side. So what you will do? But before that, how do you know that it is my first silence period? To know that, what I can do is I can simply maintain one flag variable. Let's say initially I'll take it as false. So whenever we have encountered the first silence period, which is 0, what I'll do is I'll simply make it as true. After that, I'll simply move forward. Again, you have seen one. Now what you will do? You are supposed to maintain count as well, right? So I'll also maintain my count, which is initially 0. But whenever you have seen that my flag is true, and also I have seen my string as 1, that means I am supposed to increment my count. Again, moving forward. Now what you will do? Again, you have encountered 1. So that means it's a pulse period. And my flag is also true. My flag is also true. So what I'll do? I'll simply increment my count as well. Again, moving forward. Now what you will do, guys? Again, you have seen 1, which is pulse period. And also your flag is true. That means you have somewhere encountered your silence period, which is 0. And I can simply increment my count. Again, moving forward. You have seen 0, what you can't do anything, and will simply came out of this entire string. So your answer will be basically 3. You will simply print 3. Now we'll try to convert this logic into code, guys. We'll jump into the Codechef editor. So guys, now we will try to convert our logic into code. Signal problem. So if you see, the first line goes to the test cases, right? I'll take the test cases. We'll try to solve in Python, guys, because our previous problem I have solved in Java, right? Now we'll try to solve in Python. If you want, I can zoom it. Now, after taking the test cases, you're supposed to loop on the test cases. I'll loop on the test cases. For each test case, you have two things. One is your length of the string, and next one is your string. So I'll take both the inputs. So basically, what you'll do, you'll take an input, which is by default, you'll take it as string, and you'll typecast into an integer. In the same way, you'll take your string, let's say s is equals to some input. Now what you're supposed to do, as we discussed, we require one flag variable, which is initially false. And also, I required count, so that is also initially 0 itself. Now I'll simply iterate on my entire string. So let's say character, each and every character in string. Now what you'll do, if my character is equals to 0, which is nothing but first 0, so what you will do? Can I say my flag is equals to true? Can I say my flag is equals to true? Else if what you're trying to check, else if my flag is equals to true, and if my ch is equals to 1, can I directly increment my count? Can I directly increment my count? We can't do place in the CPP like Python, right? We'll simply increment our count, and at the end, I'll simply print my count. Now we'll try to run for our test cases, sample test cases. So expected output versus given output, both are same. Now we'll try to submit. So it's gonna submit it, right? Now we'll try to solve the third problem as well. So guys, we'll discuss the next problem, third problem. The third problem name is exit door. So the problem statement is there are n people sitting in a single row inside a movie theater. So each person having a unique address from 1 to n. Basically, each and every person having some unique number from 1 to n. So representing their priority or else importance. So you have given a permutation P1, P2, and so on Pn, where P of I denotes the number of the person sitting in the ith seat, and from left to right basically. So after the movie ends, people start leaving the hall one by one, basically, right? If the movie is done, people will start leaving the hall one by one. So, and in order of decreasing number. So basically that is nothing but the person with the highest number will leave first, and then next highest, and so on. So this will be the order of leaving the hall. But they can't directly leave the hall. There is one condition. When the people leaves, they can go either left or else right out of the row. So they will choose one direction, guys. They can't go both right, left and right. They'll choose one direction. So we need to figure out which direction they will find on based on one condition. So they will choose the direction that minimize the number of people they have to disturb. Let's say we'll take some example. Let's say 1, and 5, 4, 3, 2. Obviously, the fifth priority, like the person who has in number 5, he is going to leave first, right? He can go from left, he can go from right. But if you see, if you want to go from right, you need to disturb three people. But if you are choosing from going to left, he is supposed to disturb only one. So this person will always choose left path because he can only disturb one person instead of disturbing three persons. So that is your condition. They will choose the direction that minimize the number of people they have to disturb. So your task, it is not your task. Your task is your task is to determine the total number of times people are disturbed in this entire process. So you're supposed to determine total number of times people were disturbed during this entire process. So this you are supposed to calculate. So basically, what is the input format? We'll see. Input format, first line of the input will have in test cases, obviously. And next we have two lines. First line will be having the length of the seats, number of seats are there. And the second lines are the permutation basically from 1 to n. And the two, they are space separated integers. So obviously what will be your output? Each line you're supposed to print a new test cases output. So what you're supposed to print? The total number of times people were disturbed when all people living in the described manner. Constraints, there are 10 power 5 test cases, and at max your row size will be from 1 to n itself. At max your row size will be from 1 to n. We'll try to see some test cases, few test cases, so that you'll understand this problem in a better manner. So if you see the sample test case, you have 6 test case. First line is your n, and second line is nothing but your row. So we'll try to understand this problem by seeing the sample test cases. So you have 6 test cases basically. First line will denotes n, and second line will denotes rows. Like what other numbers are there in the rows. Now, since we have only one person, you can go from right or you can go from left. So output will be no persons are going to disturb, right? Output will be 0 itself. And if you see for this test case, there are two, n is equals to 2, and there are two people in the row particularly. So what you will do? Can I set this second person? You can go from this side because he will be having some priority. You can go from left. No person is going to disturb. And one, you can, if two is done, we have one left with one right. One you can go from right or else right, left. So again, output will be 0 because no person is going to disturb. Again, for the test case, if you see, we have 3, 2, and 1. So what you can do? 3 can go from left side. So done. 2 can go from left side. Done. 3, 1. 1 you can go from left or else right. So no person is going to disturb. Again, output will be 0 itself. Again, if you see for the next test case, we have 1, 3, and 2. So basically, the third priority person having some priority, right? So you are supposed to go first. You can go from right or else you can go from left because both are one itself. Like left people are one and right people are also one. If you want to go from right side, if for sure you are supposed to disturb one person. If you want to go from left side, for sure you are supposed to disturb one person. So we also maintain one count, total count. Let's check total count, which is initially 0. Now if you have if you are trying to move 3, you are disturbing one person, right? Let's say you are trying to go from right side, done. And for next priority will be your 2. For 2, again you can go from right side, no person is going to disturb. 2 is also done. 1 you can go from left or else right. So total count will be 1. Output will be 1. In the same way, we'll try to take the last test case, which is 1, 5, 3, 4, 2. Now what you will do? The first priority will be for 5. Instead of disturbing the 3 persons, I can only disturb one person. I'll simply go from the left side. Count will be, total count will be 1. Now I'm done with this. Next priority will be 4. Again, instead of disturbing two persons, 1 and 3, I can disturb only one person. I can simply go from this position. So again, I'll only disturb one person. Count will be 2. Again, priority will be this. You can first you're supposed to disturb 1, or else first you're supposed to disturb 2. Your wish, depending upon your thinking, you can simply choose left or right. Let's say you are trying to disturb 1. Again, count will be 3. Now after that, what you'll do? This gonna go on right. 3 is going to go outside. Again, 2 can simply go from right side. 2 can simply go from right side. 2 is also done. And what about 1? 1 you can go from left or else right. No person is going to disturb, and output will be 3. So if you see, we are trying to print 3 as an output. Think how we can solve this problem, guys. Pause this video and try to solve by your own. If not, we'll see the intuition. So guys, we'll try to understand this problem, how we can solve with an example. So first of all, you're supposed to remove this 5, right? That means you're supposed to somehow go to this index 1. How we can go to that index, guys? Do you have any build functions? Let's say in Java users, we will be having an index of method in Java. If you're trying to store this entire elements into an array list, you can simply use index of. If you see, if you have given index of 5, it will simply give you 1. If you're Python users, what you can do, you can take a list and you can simply use index of 5, basically like list dot index dot 5, you'll get that particular index. And CPP users, if you're trying to store this into a vector, what you can do, we'll be having find method, right? We'll be having find method in CPP. You can use that method. Now, let's say you're trying to store this into an array list, and what you'll do, you'll somehow find this index. Let's say your initially is 1, because your first priority will be this 5, right? So what I will do is, I'll somehow find how many people are there in the left side and how many people are there in the right side. How we can find, how will you find the number of people are there in the left side and how many people are there in the right side, guys? How will you find this? Can I say simply left part is nothing but index? Can I say this part? Because currently at index is 1. Can I say we have only one element from the left side? And then what about right side? Can I say n minus I dx minus 1? So if you see, index is 1 currently, fine. Then what about right? Right, we have 3 elements and the length of the array is 5 and your current index is 1 and you're trying to subtract with 1. You'll get 3. So here also we have 3, right? We have 3 elements, yes. Now among this, what you will choose? Among this, what this person will choose? Obviously the minimum side, right? Because he doesn't want to disturb many people. He wants to disturb only like less people who are there. So what you'll do, you'll take the minimum count, minimum of left comma right, and you'll simply add that into your count. And what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to remove this. You're supposed to remove this element, remove this 5, right? If you have done this, you're supposed to remove this 5. Again, what you'll do in the second case, what you will do, guys? Again, your count is, let's say in the second case, what you will do, you'll ask your functions, you'll ask your methods to give me a 5. Give me your, like, where is my 4? That index will give us that index, that function or method will give you index as 2. Now what you will do? How will you find your left and right, guys? Left is nothing but index, but your index is at 2. But is it really at index 2? If you have removed this, element, your index gonna change, guys. From the array list, your index gonna change. So this is one is gone, right? We are supposed to remove this one. We are supposed to remove this one, and here it will be again 1, 2, 3. Again, you're supposed to decrease your n as well. Now what you will do? You will find your 4. Your 1, your 4 is at 1. So it won't be 2. It will be 1. Again, left part will be index, right? So again, what is your index? Currently is 1. And what about right? Again, n is not 5. N is not 5, guys, because we have removed one element. So n will be 4 itself. So 4 minus index is 1. 1 minus 1. What you will get 2. So can I say at this question there are two elements, two people on the right side and one people at the left side. And what you will choose always minimum of left and right. And what you will do, you'll simply take the minimum and you'll increment your answer. Now we'll try to convert this logic into code, guys. We'll move to the Codechef editor. So guys, now we'll try to convert our logic into code. Exit door. I'll share this problem link in the description, guys. You can check over there. So if you see the test cases or input format, there are few test cases, right? And in each test case, you have two lines. One is n and one is your array. So we'll try to read that, guys. Let's say test cases. We'll try to read the test cases, guys. Let's say test cases. You're supposed to iterate on those test cases. Now what you're supposed to do, guys? In each test case, you have two things. One is your length of the array, and as we discussed, we are trying to use an array list or else vector in your choice of language. Let's say I'm trying to use Java and I'm trying to use array list. Let's say array. Now I am supposed to read these elements, right? Read the elements. So I'll simply use one for loop. I'll simply read my elements. What you can do is you can take, let's say, element is equals to st dot next it, and you can simply add that array dot add element, or else what you can do is you can directly scan and you can directly insert here itself if you want to decrease the number of lines. I can remove this part. Now we have done with your taking the elements. After that, what we are supposed to do? Let's say we require answer for finding the number of persons who's going to disturb. Let's say answer is equal to 0. And if you see, for each and every time we are trying to remove one person for sure until my array size 0. So array dot size, base condition will be array dot size should be greater than 0. If it is equal to 0, there is no persons to go from my row, right? So it's not required. So while my array dot size is greater than 0, what you will do, first of all, I'll find my index. Which index? N, right? N. Currently n is nothing but if you take the previous example, n is nothing but your 5, right? So what you will do, here we have taken the n, right? The entire size of the list. So index array dot index of your n, basically. Now what you will do, you got your index. You'll see how many people are there in the left side. That's nothing but your index itself, basically. And in the same way, how many people are there in the right side? That is nothing but n minus idx minus 1. Now what you will do, can I say answer plus is equals to, you are supposed to take minimum, right? I'll take the minimum one. I'll take the minimum one, like let's say mat dot mean of from left side comma right side. I'll take the minimum and I'll simply add into my answer. After that, I need to supposed to remove that person, right, from the array list. So we have remove method also, remove array dot remove that value as an integer, right? So I supposed to get that value, integer dot value of n. Now I have removed that, I have taken that n and I have removed from my array. Now can I say I need to decrement my n as well? Because one person is going to remove, right? So n going to decrease. At the end, I'll simply repeat this entire process until my size is 0. At the end, what I'll do, I can simply print my whatever you have your answer, how many percents you have disturbed basically. We'll try to print my answer. We will see whether it's going to work for the given test case. Yes, it's working, right? Now we'll try to submit whether this code is going to pass all the hidden test case or not. Yes, it's passed, right? Now we'll move to the next question, guys. We'll discuss the last question, fourth problem. So guys, we'll discuss the fourth problem. So the problem name is binary flip. So you have given a binary string S of length n. So define count of 00, that is nothing but the number of substrings 00 in the given string. In the same way, the count of 11, the number of substrings of 11 in the given string, guys. So what you're supposed to do is, in one flip, you can choose any one of the index and toggle that S of I. Toggle is nothing but, if you have 0, 0 will becomes 1. If you have 1, 1 becomes 0. So your task is to determine the number of the minimum number, basically the minimum number of flips required to make this thing, guys. Like count of your 1 should be greater than or equals to count of 0. So you're supposed to do minimum number of flips required to make this condition satisfied. We'll try to see the input format and output format. So if you see the input format, the first line will be the number of test cases basically, and after that we have two lines. First line denotes the length of the binary string, and second line denotes the binary string. And output format, what should be output format? For each and every test case, you're supposed to print new line. Output should be the new line. That is nothing but the minimum number of flips required to make the condition satisfied. This condition. Now we'll try to see a few basic inputs and output, guys, so that sample inputs and outputs, so that you'll get to know how we can solve this problem. Let's say you have 7. That means you have 7 test cases. First line denotes your test cases. After that, if you see, there are n and you have given the string as 00. If you see, if you have 00, that means how many count of 00 substrings are there and how many counts of 1 and 1 are there. Can I say the counts of 00 is 1, 00 is 1, and the count of 1 are 0. Now what you are supposed to, guys, what is your condition? The count of 1 should be greater than or equals to the count of 00. This condition should satisfy, right? Until this condition is going to satisfy, you're supposed to flip few things. So what you'll do, the count of zeros are greater than count of ones, right? So what you're supposed to do, I need to flip for sure one character. For sure I need to flip one character. So answer will be 1. If you see, answer will be 1. If you take the second test case, you have 0 and 1. I'll remove this. So for the second test case, you have 0, 1. Now what you will do, guys, the count of zeros are 0, the count of ones also 0, because you don't have 00, right? It's a substring in an S, so we don't have. So both are equal, right? So output will be 0 itself. Again, moving to the next test case. Your next test case is again 1 and 0, right? Both are same, like 1 and 1 0, both will be equal. So answer will be 0 itself. Again, moving to this, your fourth test case. In your fourth test case, you have 1 and 1. So the count of 1 and 1 will be 1, and it will be 0 itself. Is it required to flip any bits, guys? No, right? This condition is going to satisfy. Again, it will be 0 itself. Again, moving to this, your fifth test case, you have 0, 0, 1. So can I say that count of 0, 0 is 1 and the count of 1, 1 is 0. Now what you'll do? Again, you're supposed to flip one bit for sure, either this or else this. So the count will be 1. And moving to your sixth example, what they have given 0, 1, 0, right? Are they continuous ones or are they continuous zeros? No. So both will be 0, 0 and both are equal. So I'll simply print 0 because I have not done any flips. So it will be 0 itself. And last test case 3, the n is 3 and we have 0, 0, 0. If you observe, you might be thinking that we have only one, right? No. 0, 0 is one substring and this 0, 0, 0 is one substring. So there are two substrings in my count of 0, 0 and count of 1, 1, 0. So what you will do? You can simply make this as 1 so that we don't have any count of 0, 0, 0. So answer will be 1. Think how we can solve this problem and we'll discuss the intuition, guys. So guys, let's say this is your string and now we try to count how many 1 1s are there and how many 0 0s are there. By saying that, I can say we have only one pair. And what about this? Like 1. And for this 2. And here we have 3 and 4. So the count is 4. Now how will you solve this problem, guys? Basically, you should have count of 1 1 should be greater than or equals to count of 0 0. This condition should satisfy, right? Until that, you are supposed to flip your values. So what I can do? First of all, I'll simply find the difference, guys. I'll simply find the difference. I'll simply find difference of count of 0 0 minus the count of your ones. Basically, if can I say if this is greater than this, you are supposed to flip obviously, or else if it is going to negative value, that means your count of 1 1 are greater than count of 0 0. You will find a difference. If this value is going to be a negative, for sure I can say my count of 1 1 is large. So at that point, that means if my difference is less than or equals to 0, if my difference is less than or equals to 0, can I say it's not required to do any flips and my output will be 0? Because obviously for this the count of 1 1 will be high and obviously the difference will be might be negative or else equals to 0. At that time you can simply print 0 itself. Else what you will do? Guys? For this example, you're supposed to, what is the difference? Difference is 3. That means it's not falling under this condition. So what you're supposed to do? The count of 1 1 should be greater than the count of 0 0. That means, can I say these things are valid because these are equal. If you take this substring and this substring, we have 1 1, right? So 1 and 1. We need to somehow flip here. So what I can do is to make this as invalid, I can simply convert this into 1 or else this into 1. So output should be 2, right? So there is a minimum chance to convert it into 2. How we can get that 2? Can I simply say that we can simply do difference plus 1 by 2? It's not required to flip all the bits, right? Whatever we have values, it's not required to flip all the zeros. You can simply flip in a pair 1 0 1 0. You can simply flip in a pair 1 0 is required. But if you take this thing, here we have 2. Here we have 2, right? Here we have 2 substrings basically. If you're trying to flip 2, it's not required basically. So what I'll do is I can simply take this formula, difference plus 1 by 2. So if you take for this case, what you'll do, difference plus 1 by 2. Difference is 3. We got difference as 3. So 3 plus 1 by 2. What you will get? Like 4 by 2, you will get 2. So can I say we required to flip 2 bits itself? Now shall we convert this logic into code, guys? Now we'll move to the Codechef editor and we'll try to solve that problem. So guys, we'll try to solve this problem, binary flip. So if you see, we have test cases, right? And also n and string input. So we'll try to read those things. First of all, I'll read mine. We'll take it as, so see. Now we'll read our test cases. Let's say after that I'm supposed to loop on my test cases, and after that in each test case we have an size of the string. After that we are supposed to take, let's say s. You're supposed to take the string, right? Now what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to do calculate two things. One is count of 0, 0, which is initially 0, and the count of 1, 1, and that initially is 0, right? Now what I'll do is I'll simply iterate my I from 0 to, I'll iterate till n minus 1 itself. Do you know why you're supposed to do for n minus 1 itself? Because how you're trying to check the pair, right? So if you're currently at ith index, we'll check for I plus 1. If you have only one element, do you have I plus 1? No, right? So I'll simply use this condition to not to get the runtime error and I plus plus. Now what I'll do is if my s dot caret of I that is equals to 0, and if my s dot character of at I plus 1, if it is also equals to 0, what I'll do is I'll simply increment my count of 0, 0 plus plus. Else will directly update your count of plus count of 1, 1 plus. No, right? You're supposed to check same condition. If my, and we check my same condition, s dot caret of I should be equals to 1, and also s dot caret of I plus 1 should be equals to 1. In this case, what you will do? Count of 1, 1 should be gonna increment. And done. Now at the end, what you will do, guys? As discussed, first of all, I'll find the difference. Difference would be like count of 0, 0 minus the count of 1, 1. Basically, if my difference is negative, it's not required to change. It's not required to do any flips. So if my difference is not equals like less than or equals to 0, so what you do? System dot out dot println of 0, because basically it's not required to print. It's not required to flip anything. Else what you'll print, guys? So again, I'll simply print difference plus 1 by 2, because if you have one pair, it's not required to flip all the pairs, right? All the values in the pair. You can simply pick one element in that pair and you can simply flip that. Now we'll try to run for the test cases. So our output and expected outputs are going to match, and we'll try to submit it, guys. Got it, right? Like each and every test case are passed. Done. That's all for this video. If you found this explanation helpful, do not forget to like and subscribe the channel. Thank you for watching, guys, and see you in the next video.